to the unveiling of the plaque organised by the Braemar Local History Group. In a moment I'll invite George Anthony, a former member of the Royal Observer Corps, to tell you all about the bunker, its importance, its significance, and basically what it was used for. And shortly after that I'll invite Captain Mark Nicholson to perform the unveiling ceremony.
I know there's maybe a chiefy and a couple of observers here today from Braemar Post, so it's nice to see that. This underground post here, we can have a looky down. They started this in the nuclear war from the 1950s, so basically your underground post is in very, very good condition. It was probably some of the last ones to be built. We think it was made around about the 1962-63 era, but all posts were then finished as of the year 1991. So 10,000 observers, 890 odd posts all closed, and that was the end of the ROC. But then my final role was at RAF Buchan doing nuclear, biological and chemical plotting, so I've seen quite a bit of the options that the ROC could actually do, so I'm very, very privileged to be one of the few to say that I've been an NRC officer, group officer, as well as a post member. I was never in the crew like the two ladies here. They got the top end of the jobs. We got the dirty work, I say. But thank you very much for being there for us. The underground post you can have a look at was manned by a team of 3 during the course of a war. So we would have to go down that post, shut it down, and we brought along some of the instruments if they're not already there to show you what we could actually do. And our job was to plot and report to our wing headquarters at the Quarry Road in Aberdeen. So we would plot all our information, and then in a bigger picture they would have it drawing out on the board. And they say at RAF Buchan it's a different kettle of fish again, so biological and chemical warfare, you don't want to know anything about that, but it's a minefield when you go into that kind of thing. So the ROC did equip themselves. We started off as aircraft recce, then we moved into the nuclear role, and they say we did that role from basically the 1950s to 1991, and then thank you very much for 10,000 of us all stood down, and that was the end of that. So I'll call upon our captain here to officially open the ropes, I believe.
Thank you very much indeed. Before that, I've just been asked to say a few words. I had my, doesn't sound right this, but my 30th birthday on June the 7th.
Yes.
30, it doesn't sound right, but that was June the 7th, 1987 was when I took over running the Mar estate. And I thank you very much for reminding me, it was 4 years in, where we got a very funny, complicated key with 2 sort of bars at 90 degrees. And the biggest padlock I've ever seen fitted this key. And I went to look inside the nuclear shelter, and I thought, oh, wine cellar. I thought, document store. And then I saw it and I thought, let's just leave it as it is, because it's really rather small and it was really rather special being, and I didn't know it was one of the very few that are left. It was much more special just being left, and a great, great pleasure and honour for me to unveil the plaque. So there we go.
Eventually. I will. Each observer should have been issued with one of these dosimeters, and this was their own personal kit. So you keep that on you, so you would start absorbing radiation if you went outside to change your papers. You're allowed to have a certain amount, whether it was 75 or something like that, before you were deemed to be too radiation. You could have sickness before you would be able to go and do anything else. So you would try and eke it out to make sure that you got your fair share of those if you had to get radiation. So this is the dosimeter. That's a charging unit. Put a wee electrical charge back into this thing to 0 again, and you just keep your log of all your readings and work out how much each person's absorbed during the course of the exercise or day or whatever it is. Little wee things like that.
I think I'll go up and see what everybody else want to come.
Aye, we do it.
Okay.
No worries.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
So we've got landline communication, so we'll speak to Gordon, but Princess
Stay
Street.
there,
Sorry, the barracks at Quarry Road, that's where our landline communication is. And this is a carrier receiver, so all police stations and hospitals had these. It gives a constant tick, 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 unless you got a wobbling noise, and then you know there's imminent attack due. You'd also have a siren and maroons. So the siren, you'd hand crank it if there was an attack warning red to warn the public, although you're well out the way here, so nobody'd hardly hear that. So your hand cranker, like you see in World War II, would have given the attack warning red, or the attack warning, or the all clear, and then you should have a maroon which fires off 3 rockets in quick succession, which gave the warning black that there was imminent fallout due. So our job was just really to report what we're seeing here and then feed it on to our headquarters and let them work out a plan of what's going to be a safe area or not. But we had to do mobile monitoring, which was you would be asked to go down to the local village or somewhere like that, or somewhere of interest, and take readings so they could find it, work out if it was safe to get folk that direction or not. But as you can see, pretty solid buildings. And then this is your water pump. Hopefully it's not working because there's still water at the bottom of the pipe here. This is your clock. It should just automatically click round as it is. So that gives you your power off of the battery. So again, every 8 hours or whatever, you have to go and charge the battery up. Fire blanket in the event of a fire. There's not much stuff in here would burn. So this is your fixed survey meter. That's obviously it's still got the carbon, which is right enough there, yes.
Right.
Now this should be a couple of baffle plates called the bomb power indicator, which is attached to that machine here. This big silver pipe is attached outside.
Yes.
And there should be a couple of about 6-inch plates with an inch or a gap, and that just measures a peak over pressure of a nuclear weapon.
Doreen Watson, yes. I was chief observer. We had 3 crews. I was the chief observer in crew 1, and Mary Bruce was our officer. And then I had to mount up. Crew 2 met on a Tuesday. We met on Monday, 2 and 3 on a Wednesday. It was in Quarry Road in Northfield, Aberdeen. So we got the information from the post. There were what they called post display plotters. The post gave the information to the post display plotters, wrote the information on a board, and from there the information went to what they called a triangulation table. And that was plotted there. The information was then sent down to scientific officers. They were part of the United Kingdom Warning and Monitoring Organisation, UKWMO, and they dealt with all the hard stuff, the scientific stuff. We got the information from the post. They were all very close. Naturally,
you were more sophisticated than we were.
Yes, the posts were terrible because they were down and they had to go even in the winter. Well, you can imagine the winters here, and they still have to make, when we had exercises, they had like 12-hour exercises and 24-hour exercises, and these boys had to go down the post and struggle to get to the post in the first place. So we always admired what they did.
It wasn't a nice place to really work in. It was cold. There was no heating allowed. But we survived most of it.